Jesus wants to speak, so I'm going to speak with Jesus. Come, divine will, come speak in my speaking. This is Ephesians chapter 3, verse 7. Grace was given to each of us according to the measure of Christ's gift. So those of you who have said fiat to the gift of living in the divine will, Christ has given you the greatest grace of anyone in human history. Obviously, the Blessed Virgin Mary had this. We always repeat this. And Jesus had it by nature. So we always say that. Adam and Eve had it before the fall. We always recognize that. Louisa was the first to receive it in the modern era. The first soul conceived in a state of original sin to receive the grace. Now here you are. You've got it. You've received this grace by your fiat. How do we receive it? Simple. We say, Jesus, I give you my will in exchange for the gift of living in your divine will. And Jesus makes it clear. The moment the soul desires it, the gift flows in the soul, and the soul flows in the divine will. So it's given by desire, not by rote, not by, as it were, religiosity. It's given by desire. It's given pointing at my heart. The desire is in here. I desire this gift. The gift is given. The soul obviously has to be in a state of grace, but the gift is given. Okay, so you've received the great grace. Now what? Now comes a challenge. Okay, I'm going to quote to you from a book called Under the Gaze of the Father, which is a retreat given by Archbishop Louis M. Martinez, given to a beautiful mystic, Conception Cabrera de Almeida, otherwise known as the Blessed Conchita. And I've been following this retreat for a little bit, and I wanted to share this with you today. Have you thought deeply what the will of the Father means? This will is wisdom, beauty, and love. If we understood it, we would want nothing else. For the blessed, doing God's will means happiness always and everywhere. They offer themselves to it in an ecstasy of love, wonder, and pleasure. During his earthly life, it was Jesus' will to accomplish his Father's will. I always do what is pleasing to him, Jesus said with profound satisfaction. The essence of holiness, love, and wisdom is to offer oneself to the divine will. To become holy means to live and die surrendered, without resistance, with firm commitment, loving, self-giving, to this adorable will. To love is to lose one's own will and to project oneself into the will of the beloved. So to really abandon ourselves to the divine will, to give ourselves over to it completely and totally without reserve, from dawn to dusk, and even at night when we sleep. To want the divine will to completely reign in us. This is the grace Christ has given to us. And what I say to you is what Paul says to us. He says, be a good steward of this grace. You've been given the stewardship of this grace. Be a good steward of it. From dawn to dusk, the first thing you should do when you rise, and Jesus says this in the Divine Will Time, is, upon rising, fix your will in the divine will and place everything of that day in the divine will and make a firm resolution not to give life to your own will as the day proceeds. One day in the very near future, you will realize how vitally important it is that every day the first thing you should do upon rising is to make that prevenient act. At the moment, you probably don't realize it. Probably think, this is a devotion, this is a practice I do, this is a discipline. But in the very near future, you're going to realize that as the world falls apart, it's souls who are living in the divine will, who are carrying the renewal of the world, of the earth, of the church, and the transformation of the earth. And Jesus will require you to embrace the crosses he sends in his will, not in your human will, but in his will, so that many, many souls can be saved and led through the chastisement safely. Fiat voluntas tua.